Welcome to the TRAPBOOTCAMP podcast. I am your host, Kawana O.J.D. Lewis, and my co-hosts here are Sam Silver and Zach Holcomb. What's up?
I'm good. I'm excited for today's episode. Yeah.
As you should be.
It's been a minute, and we have a very special guest.
Yes, we have a special guest today. Author, CEO, ocean saver, volunteer, world traveler, best pancake maker, insane baker, and overall boss bitch with a heart of pure gold, Miss L.B. Alexander. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
So tell us a little about yourself, girl.
I am a writer, and I am a very, very avid amateur baker.
Every time someone sees cupcake or cake, they're like, "Oh, do you have a bakery?"
No, I just bake for fun. I want to maintain the joy of it.
If you do a red velvet anything, or cream cheese anything, I'm there. Okay.
I gotcha.
Yes, I love it. How did you get started with these books?
So Swan Lake is a modern day reimagining of the most beloved ballet in history. With a very heavy BDSM element. So I started writing Swan Lake my senior year of college when I was supposed to be writing my thesis, actually. I really just desperately needed some kind of creative outlet. I wanted to write a book that I hadn't read before. And that was a book that combined the really elegant language that you find in your classic romances like Jane Eyre and Pride and Prejudice with the unapologetic, dirty, detailed sex that you find in something like 50 Shades of Grey. Like, is there a way
How liberating is
put
that?
those two together? So that was really the inspiration for Swan Lake. I wrote it in about 3 months.
Whoa.
And, yeah.
How do you feel, number one, writing the book enhanced your life? And how did you discipline yourself enough to write for a full 3 months?
I think all of us have some kind of a story to tell. We all have something to communicate, whether it's writing something, singing something, just any kind of creative thing that we're giving to the world. And there is something incredibly empowering about drawing from inspiration, sitting down to create something, and then sharing it. As for the discipline, oh my gosh. I didn't outline the book. I had really clear ideas of where I wanted the story to go. But I was always thinking about it. Even before I started writing, I was always thinking about it. And I realized that was a gift in itself. This was inspiration. Every single day, I sat down and I wrote something, whether it was one sentence, whether it was a manic 16,000 word sprint. I tried to do something every single day.
When you're writing, do you write knowing like this is going to be a chapter, or do you write like I'm just going to write everything out and then I'm going to cut it here, that's chapter number 1, cut it here, chapter number 2? How do you do that?
For me, I have typically a general idea of a beginning, a middle, and an end for any book that I'm going to write. I don't necessarily know what the chapters are going to be. I think it's so much easier to edit content than to try and force it, where it might not naturally want to be. So I just start writing.
Really?
I write as much as I can. And editing is for cleaning it up and making it perfect.
How would you introduce this to people in a way like that had never done it before or experienced or heard about BDSM before?
My mother grew up in the South, so like very Southern Baptist. So she knew that I was a writer. She knew that I wrote romance, but I never let her read my books, even after they were published. And one day we were just having lunch. She was like, it makes me really sad that I haven't read any of your books. So I said, Mom, I'm happy to give them to you. I'm not ashamed of them. However, you need to prepare yourself for what the content is. My mother reached the intimate scenes and started texting me and said, I'm picturing Richard Gere right now. And all of like her favorite stars. And then she went and ordered 10 copies and sent them to all of like her best girlfriends and her sisters.
It's been a rough week because I had lost a family member that was very, dear to our family, our matriarch. With loss, sometimes you start to think about negative things and then you'll just kind of go down. And this time I said, you know what? This is not a bad loss for me. No loss is a bad loss. It's a gain in your ancestral bloodline. If you just change your attitude about the death, it can definitely enhance your life. We're going to take 10 seconds, okay? And I want you to look to the floor and now think about like something terrible. Just 10 seconds. Think of something terrible. Put your head down. Think of something terrible. Put your hand on your heart. How does it feel? Keep it to yourself. All right. Now, so eyes up. All right. Loosen up your body. And we are going to make a sound that makes you excited. So whatever it is, whatever it is, and you're going to give me claps, like 5 different claps, okay? Think about something that makes you really excited. Ready? 5 claps. Let's go. Let's go. Now put your hand on your heart. Feels better, right? Doesn't it feel better?
Yes.
So that is how you can change your attitude and your circumstance in seconds.
Yes! So this is Swan Lake.
Okay.
This is the first book in the series.
Yes.
Look at this.
This is Swan Peak. It's a follow-up to this one. It's considerably steamier than the first book.
Oh my God, yes. Okay.
And then this is a title I released last summer. It's called Working Man. It is a gender-swapped pretty woman about a female tech executive who hires a male escort.
Oh, nice. Okay, so wait, are these gifts?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Girl, you got me for 3 months. You got me. This might not even be 3 months.
Tell us where listeners can find it. Like,
Yes.
where can they get it?
Oh, yes. So my social handle for absolutely everything is LB Alexander Author. So
Yes.
I am on Instagram, Facebook, Goodreads, and the book can be purchased on Amazon, and it can also be read for free if you happen to be a member of Amazon Kindle Unlimited.
Are you looking to build a bespoke balloon business? Well, in my course, I will be going over all of my tips and tricks on how to build a successful business. We will be going into the back end of the business, how to run your business successfully, and how to create lush, beautiful designs like this one.
The herb of the week is black violet. It's calming, refreshing, and pacifying. It also has come to symbolize independence, success, wisdom, and psychic ability. It's brought to you by our newly titled, it was Ethereal Essence, but we are now changing our name to the TRAPMates Spa. And we have a new candle called It's Giving Best Version of Me for this month. I really took my time to handcraft these candles.
Oh, this is gorgeous.
Let's do some hot flashes. Let's read a few passages and let's see which ones give us hot flashes.
So we're starting with one of my favorite scenes. It is the very first time the heroine sees the hero. Automatically, I raised my head to meet his gaze, and immediately I wished I hadn't. Mr. Wolf was entirely wolf-like. Standing in a very well-tailored 3-piece charcoal suit, he possessed the refined sophistication of an executive and the hypnotic, dangerous beckoning of a mystical beast. The first thing I noticed about him was his sheer size. He was an impressive figure, tall and muscled like an Olympian, or perhaps a warrior, and bulk as huge as whom the fables name of monstrous size, Titanian or Earthborn. Perhaps this was the true meaning of devilishly handsome. Perhaps I should have found it concerning that the sight of him immediately made me think of Milton Satan, the tempter, the wicked. His undulated hair was an intense, smooth dark brown, just a half shade away from pure black, trimmed short on the sides and longer in the front, and effortlessly styled with a classic side part that reminded me of a soldier. His eyes were, I couldn't even pinpoint what color they were. His focused, deep-set eyes seemed to vary from warm amber to a pure electric green, leaving me mesmerized where I stood, a good 10 steps away from him, with head uplift above the wave and eyes that sparkling blazed. He held his head high and proud, regal. His angled cheekbones and hard jaw were further enhanced by an expertly groomed 5 o'clock shadow, the dark ghost of a sharp-cornered goatee. Other than a few frown lines around his brow and forehead, his tan skin was a completely unblemished canvas. I couldn't remember the last time I'd felt so intimidated by a stranger, yet combined with the fear was that strange other feeling, that primal feeling. It only grew stronger as the moments passed between us, nearly compelling me to walk directly into the jaws of this lupine beast. The urge felt almost like my nausea, but it wasn't entirely unpleasant. It was warm and ticklish, not quite in my stomach, but lower. There was a new heaviness there, a molten, viscous liquid, reactive to only one destructively handsome catalyst.
Ooh, girl, you can write. Let's go for one more.
Okay, I'm going to read one from the follow-up, Swan Peak.
Okay, Swan Peak.
So to set things up a little bit, Swan Lake, the characters meet for the first time, fall in love, and the world of BDSM is very new to the heroine. The novel ends in an optimistic way. Swan Peak is a deep dive into BDSM 101. So in this particular scene, April, the main character, is learning how to give head for the first time.
Awesome.
I remember.
I'd always found ancient Greek attitudes towards sex absolutely fascinating, even as I blushed my way through my mother's lessons on erotic classical art. Those elegantly explicit scenes of entangled red figures against blackened terracotta demonstrated that the societal framework of sex as an activity was not based upon orientation or gender pairings for the Hellenic. It didn't matter if it was a man and a man, 2 women, or even a ménage à 3, 4, or 5 of unknown sex ratios, for biological organs were not the deciding factors that distinguished one sexual act from the next. The perception of sex was instead informed solely on basis of opposing power, the aggressor and the passive, the penetrator and the penetrated, the hunter and the prey, or the dominant and the submissive. And as I knelt before William, I finally understood the full meaning of this ancient dynamic for the very first time. Sex was such a large part of how William controlled me, for the man who held my orgasms also held my soul. He exerted his power through savage, fleshly acts that bound me to his Olympian form infernally. He was a god, and I his helpless mortal. He exerted his dominance over me by what he did to me. He was the giver, and I the receiver. But there was something different about what was about to happen between us, for what would come next would not be about William bombarding me with sensation and thereby controlling me with it. Whatever was coming was going to be solely about him and for him, his sensation only. He didn't blink as he slowly unzipped his pants, his glowing eyes smoldering like an ember. His grip remained firm in my hair, and I gulped as his hard flesh finally released right in front of my face. Suck me off was the only instruction he gave.
On today's segment of Just Dominate, I actually brought some ropes for you and for you, so we can try it together. When I was working as a Dom, I was taught that if you're going to do a tie, you want to try and do it within 30 seconds or less. I figured why not show, right? So what I'm going to have you guys do, and you can kind of do it wherever you want on the rope. I would normally go towards the end, but just for today, because we're going to be faster, I'm going to show you 2. Let's start here. It's like guns, right? Okay. Facing you. Okay. Perfect. And then you're going to go again. So that's 1, 2, still letting the rope fall ahead of each other. And then last one, 3. And then you're just going to bring it together. And then just kind of give it some space. Okay, so you're gonna slide through. And then you're just gonna yank it. Yep. Ooh. And then go ahead and try and wiggle around. These don't slip. So if you're doing it correctly, they shouldn't be able to loosen. And then the last one, this is a lot easier. Go ahead, loop it. Yeah, and together. And then you're just gonna take the whole loop and then tie it into a knot. So then you just kind of bring this through. You'd have to bring the whole rope through.
Okay.
But then this one you can just kind of pull tight. But it does slip.
Please let us know. Leave a comment. Tell them. Leave a comment.
Leave a comment.
Thank you so very much, LB, for coming to the show. Everybody give it up for LB. Give it up for my co-host Sam Silver and Zach Holcomb and myself. And you guys, as always, follow me, or don't follow me.
But as always, follow me. Please.
I take you if you wanna go.